So I just got off the call with the developers of the video game reseller app that I'm building that was honestly pretty scary. And just wanted to throw the camera on and give you guys my reaction to it and kind of verbally process through what it was. Basically, we're in the part of the process where they're trying to integrate the data from eBay and Amazon to this app. Part of the core functionality of what I want OneUp to do is to give people the sales data for eBay, Amazon, and price charting all at the same time. So that at a glance, you can see what a game is actually worth. What are the most recent sales on eBay, and what are all of the current listings in different conditions on Amazon. Without that functionality, the app is basically dead in the water because you can't have a video game price checking app if you can't check the prices. And initially, early on in the process, they didn't express any concerns. They took kind of a cursory glance at the instructions for getting the APIs on various websites and didn't see any red flags. Well, we're at the point in the process right now where we actually need that data. By the way, if you don't know, API is basically tech lingo for a website's data that they can make public to whoever they want in a more usable form than just kind of building something to go in and what's called scraping the website for the information. Anyways, today we jumped on a call and they let me know that there have been some serious risk factors that have come up. One, the API that they thought they were looking at for Amazon had insufficient data. They were trying to get sales data from their affiliate program because they have a fairly public API associated with that, that as it turns out doesn't have enough of the sales data that we're going to need. So we're having to go through a different API application process for that is based on having an Amazon seller account. That we're hoping they get back to us. Their estimated time frame is 2 weeks, and if they deny that application, there isn't really much we can do to get that data. They're tentatively optimistic about it based on the parameters that they can see from the website, but at this point we just don't know, and if we can't get that data, like I said, there's not really a plan B. We just won't be able to have that as part of the app, which would significantly impact the value to potential users. The worst part is the eBay application, because as they went to go and actually fill it out, they found out that eBay's application link to be able to access their data is actually broken. So they've been in contact with their support team, trying to express their needs and to get some sort of manual version of this application, and it's unclear whether we will be able to get it, and if we get it, whether it will be approved. So their support team is apparently charging us $75 an hour because it's like a business need to help with this. I'm not as concerned about that as I am about actually getting an approved application. Now, what does this all mean for the future of OneUp? Well, the first thing is that it will almost certainly push our development timelines back. I really, at this point, it is November 8th, really wanted to be able to start beta testing this with the Discord and with people who have been using our buy list service in December. We're kind of at their mercy at this point of they could both get back to us tomorrow and we could have this figured out, or it could be weeks or hopefully not months. So I'm kind of currently in the process of figuring out what does this all mean. It was very tempting in that conversation to be upset that this wasn't all discovered earlier on when we did our initial discovery process. And so I kind of asked about that. I was like, hey, this seems late in the process to be uncovering these kinds of substantial risks that could undermine the entire concept of the project. Why is this only being figured out now? And the reality is, in the discovery process, you can't uncover everything. In order to actually uncover everything, you have to build the whole project to understand what every single risk is going to be. They had initial indicators that it wouldn't be an issue. And as soon as they realized it was an issue, to their credit, they brought it directly to me. It was okay, the week that we're doing the application, we're not going to push this off. We're not going to try to just kind of solve it on our own before we raise it as a potential risk. They told me immediately. And my instinct was to be kind of upset because the reality is I've spent 30 to 40K on this project already. And it would have been really nice to know that those risks existed and to get this figured out earlier on in the process. In reality, could more have been done in that initial discovery? Could they have gone a step or two deeper and potentially saved us a lot of time and headache? I think so, but the other part of the situation is like, who does it serve for me to get upset about that? I don't think that their intentions are in the wrong place. I think they are doing their very best to make this thing happen. And it's a team of just really capable dudes that I trust their integrity. So if I were to light them up and say, like, how could you do this? Like, this is incompetent, blah, 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 which in reality, I don't really know what I'm talking about. And then the next couple days, we get both issues resolved. Like, that just leaves everyone feeling awkward and the relationship is in a worse place. So what I'm trying to do from an emotional standpoint right now is just kind of take things one day at a time and not react before I have all of the information. I have to ask myself at this point, like, what is the best and worst case scenario? The best case scenario I kind of already told you guys about, which is maybe within the next week we get approved for both applications, the data is good and what we need, and we can keep building this thing and maybe even meet our initial timelines. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario is both applications get rejected and OneUp will not be a price checking app. It won't be, maybe it's the kind of thing that I can charge something for. In reality, it may end up just being a smoother and easier version of our buy list program that, like, hopefully people can get some additional value out of, but if nothing else, it'll, like, worst case scenario, just be a free program that people can download and more easily sell us the kind of games that we pay really well for. And hopefully it'll help the business enough to offset some of the development costs. But almost inevitably, if that were the case, I would lose tens of thousands of dollars. Trying not to think too much about that because I don't think it really makes sense to dwell on the worst possible outcome when you just don't have all the information. I will keep you guys updated as I learn more and our applications are approved or denied. I also eventually have some much more fleshed out. Our designer, on a little bit of a brighter side, has been absolutely crushing it with the mock-ups, and this week actually he's going to get back to me with some of the first high fidelity mock-ups with all of the decisions made. What menu items do we want to have? How do we want things to be sorted in terms of, like, what options are important, value, alphabetical, by console, what do we want the collection screen to look like, how important are little thumbnail images. All of these million tiny conversations that we've been having for the last 2 months are going to be visible in that, and I want to show you guys that. I don't know what the future of OneUp holds, but this was definitely the scariest and most stress-inducing day that I've had yet, so I wanted to make sure to document it, and I don't know, we'll see how it turns out.